Did you know that Mexico has been home to advanced civilizations for over 13,000 years? Let's take a journey back in time, to when the first footprints marked the virgin soil of this land. In the beginning, Mexico was a land of nomads, a place where early humans roamed, hunting mammoths and gathering food to survive. They left behind evidence of their presence in the form of stone tools and the bones of their massive prey. Over time, these early Mexicans began to settle down, cultivating the land and sowing the seeds of civilization. The dawn of agriculture was a game changer. With the ability to grow their own food, these people were no longer at the mercy of the elements. They could now stay in one place, build homes, and start communities. This was the beginning of a new era, an era marked by the rise of advanced societies and the birth of culture. Among these early societies, one stands out in particular: the Olmecs. Known as the mother culture of Mesoamerica, the Olmecs were the first true civilization in Mexico. They rose to prominence around 1,200 years before Christ, and for nearly a millennium they dominated the region. The Olmecs were skilled artisans and engineers, building grand cities with colossal stone heads and complex drainage systems. They developed a system of writing and a calendar, and they were among the first people in the world to use zero in mathematics. Yet, as remarkable as their rise was, their decline was equally mysterious. Around 400 years before Christ, the Olmec civilization began to fade. Their grand cities were abandoned, their colossal stone heads left to weather the passage of time. The reasons for their decline are still a subject of debate among scholars. The Olmecs left behind a legacy that shaped the course of Mexican history, setting the stage for the rise of new empires. Their influence can be seen in the cultures that followed, from the Mayans to the Aztecs, but that, dear listeners, is a story for another time. From the ashes of the Olmec civilization rose two of the most powerful empires in Mexican history, the Mayans and the Aztecs. Let's begin our journey with the Mayans, a civilization that thrived from around 2000 BC to the 16th century AD. They were an incredibly advanced society, particularly in the fields of astronomy, mathematics, and architecture. Their astronomers plotted the movements of celestial bodies with astonishing accuracy, and their mathematicians developed the concept of zero, a notion that would revolutionize mathematics. Meanwhile, their architects designed and constructed grand cities with towering pyramids, observatories, and intricate palaces, all without the use of metal tools. But the Mayan civilization was more than just its technological achievements. It was a rich tapestry of art, culture, and religion, deeply rooted in the worship of nature gods and the cosmos. The Mayans also developed a complex system of hieroglyphic writing, one of the most advanced in the ancient world. As the Mayan civilization began to wane, another powerful empire rose to prominence: the Aztecs. Establishing their capital in Tenochtitlan, present-day Mexico City, the Aztecs built an empire that was vast and powerful. They created a complex system of governance, with a central ruler and a council of nobles, and an intricate religious system that involved human sacrifice to appease their gods. The Aztecs were also master builders, and Tenochtitlan was a testament to their architectural prowess. This city was a marvel of engineering, with canals instead of streets, and magnificent temples rising from its center. It was a city unlike any other in the world, so grand that when the Spanish conquistadors first saw it, they believed they were dreaming. But the Aztec Empire, for all its grandeur, was on a collision course with a world beyond their own. Yes, the Aztecs, like the Mayans before them, were on the precipice of tremendous change, a change that would forever alter the course of Mexican history. But that's a story for our next scene. In 1519, a small band of Spanish conquistadors led by Hernán Cortés landed on Mexican soil. This was no chance encounter, but a calculated move by the Spanish crown to extend their influence and wealth. Cortés, a man of ambition and cunning, was ready to stake his claim in this new world, but he knew he couldn't do it alone. He began forging alliances with local tribes, many of whom were dissatisfied with the rule of the mighty Aztec Empire. This was a shrewd move, as it gave Cortés valuable insights into the Aztec civilization and provided him with much-needed manpower. Among his allies were the Tlaxcalans, fierce warriors who saw in Cortés a chance to overthrow their Aztec overlords. Meanwhile, the Aztecs, led by Emperor Moctezuma II, were dealing with omens and prophecies of doom. When Cortés and his men arrived in the Aztec capital of Tenochtitlan, they were initially received as guests, not enemies. This would prove a fatal mistake. The Spanish were ruthless in their pursuit of gold and power. They took Moctezuma hostage, prompting a rebellion among the Aztecs. The ensuing battle saw the Spanish and their allies driven out of the city, but not before they unleashed a devastating weapon: smallpox. The disease tore through the Aztec population, weakening them significantly. Cortés returned a year later in 1521, and after a brutal 3-month siege, Tenochtitlan fell. The Spanish razed the city and built Mexico City in its place, signaling the start of New Spain. The fall of the Aztec Empire marked the end of an era, but it was just the beginning of a new chapter in the history of Mexico. The Spanish conquest was far from a peaceful transition. It was a collision of cultures marked by violence, disease, and the relentless pursuit of wealth. Yet, from this upheaval emerged a new society, one that blended the old and the new, the indigenous and the foreign. The Spanish conquest marked a pivotal moment in Mexico's history, forever changing its cultural and social landscape. After nearly 300 years of Spanish rule, the winds of change were blowing in Mexico. The dawn of the 19th century saw the fervor for independence spreading like wildfire across the colonies of Spain in the New World. In Mexico, the spark was ignited by a Catholic priest named Miguel Hidalgo. In a small town named Dolores, Hidalgo rang the church bells on September 16, 1810, calling the people to revolt against Spanish rule. This event, famously known as the Cry of Dolores, marked the beginning of a long and bloody struggle for independence. Teaming up with another priest, José María Morelos, Hidalgo rallied the people, leading them in a valiant fight for freedom. Tragically, both heroes fell in the battle, but their spirit lived on. After more than a decade of relentless struggle, the Spanish finally acknowledged Mexico's independence on September 27, 1821. However, this was just the beginning of a turbulent era for the young nation. The newfound freedom was marred by political instability and social unrest, eventually leading to the Mexican Revolution in the early 20th century. This was a complex and chaotic period marked by a series of revolts against the ruling elite. Two figures stand out during this tumultuous time: Pancho Villa and Emiliano Zapata. Villa, a charismatic bandit turned revolutionary, led a successful campaign in northern Mexico. Meanwhile, Zapata, a champion for agrarian reform, mobilized the peasants in the south. They both fought for a common cause: land and freedom for the Mexican people. The revolution was a brutal and bloody affair, but it brought about significant social and political changes. It laid the groundwork for a constitution that guaranteed rights for workers, established land reforms, and set the stage for Mexico to emerge as a modern nation. The struggles for independence and revolution defined Mexico's national identity, shaping the country we know today. In the wake of revolution, Mexico began its journey into the modern era. A time marked by a blend of triumphs and tribulations, this period set the stage for the Mexico we know today. Post-revolution, the country emerged with a new constitution in 1917. This constitution, still in place today, was groundbreaking for its time, introducing social rights and serving as a model for other nations. It marked a significant shift towards democracy and social justice, setting the tone for the century to come. However, Mexico's journey was not without hardship. The mid-20th century was marked by a series of political and social challenges. One of the most notable of these was the Tlatelolco massacre in 1968. This tragic event saw the Mexican government use force against student protesters, resulting in hundreds of deaths and injuries. Despite the pain and controversy it caused, the incident spurred important discussions about government accountability and human rights. Economic crises also shaped modern Mexico. The 70s and 80s were particularly tumultuous, with skyrocketing inflation and significant debt putting strain on the nation's economy. These crises led to a shift towards neoliberal policies and free trade, most notably through the North American Free Trade Agreement in the 90s. The turn of the 21st century brought further changes. New political parties rose to power, ending the institutional Revolutionary Party's 70-year rule. This shift sparked a new era of political diversity and competition, reflecting Mexico's evolving democratic landscape. While modern Mexico has faced its share of challenges, it has also seen remarkable growth and development. Its vibrant culture, innovative industries, and influential global position are testament to the nation's resilience and adaptability. Despite its tumultuous past, Mexico stands as a proud nation, rich in history and culture, a testament to the resilience of its people.